Hello, and welcome to the Trophy Trust, a weekly podcast of PlayStation Trophy Hunters, recorded through Discord. I'm one of your hosts, The Dazil. Joining me this evening, we have one of our regulars, the Vectronic.
Hello.
And making their podcast debut, we also have with us this evening Pyzilla57 and B-Tips.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Even if it is a little bit short notice, we welcome anyone into the open spaces that we have on the show. Anyone from Discord, and come on for a chat about trophies and gaming. So let's just start, shall we? Let's just jump right in and talk about what we've been playing this week. So let's start with one of the newbies this evening. Pyzilla, why don't you go first? What have you been playing this week?
Sure. So earlier this week, I finally finished up and got the platinum for Friday the 13th, the game.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
It was a huge grind. My boosting partner and I, we played for like almost a month straight, just grinding that out. So I'm happy that's done. And then the other night, I finished the Deadly Tower of Monsters. I did that in one sitting and got the platinum.
Nice. I've got that platinum myself.
Yeah, I got that platinum too. It was very easy.
Well, let's talk about Friday the 13th to begin with.
Okay.
I've not got any experience with that game personally. I've seen it around here and there. When it first launched, there was a lot of sort of commotion about, was it like glitchiness? The game's like not exactly very finely polished, so to speak. Has that changed at all in the month you've been playing? Has there been updates? Made it any better? Any more enjoyable?
Yes, they did update it. There are still like some glitches here and there, but nothing really too game breaking like it was before. Like I know when it first came out, there were players finding glitches where they could like glitch on top of houses and stuff like that, where Jason just could not get to them as a counselor. And they fixed that out, but and then people were getting banned for still doing it. So they fixed a lot of that, and then also toward the beginning they had where counselors can kill each other. So playing online in public matches with random people was really a pain because counselors would just kill each other for no reason. So they kind of fixed that as well. So it has gotten a lot better. So the only minor glitches and stuff like that aren't really game breaking, which is good.
Well, we've discussed before in previous episodes about how online multiplayer trophies is the bane of trophy hunters' existence. And I can imagine a game such as this where it is purely, and am I correct in assuming it's purely online multiplayer, isn't it?
It is. You can play private matches with friends. So my boosting partner and I, we pretty much just did private matches the entire time, which was really nice. And then also sometime this month, I believe they are actually adding in a single player mode where you can play with bots offline.
And so how would you rate the platinum then out of 10? 1 being super easy peasy and 10 being, of course, really hard, like crazy hard.
So it was a really easy platinum because, like I said, you can boost everything in private matches. However, it is very grindy. It took me about 200 hours or so to actually finish the platinum.
Okay.
So
it's quite an investment of time.
Yeah, because there are some trophies where you have to play 1,000 matches as a counselor, and then you have to play 1,000 matches as Jason.
Wow!
So if you do it legit and just playing with in public matches, it's going to take forever. Especially since a full lobby of 8 people, only one person's Jason. So
That sounds
it's really
rough.
hard to do. But if you play in public matches, the host can choose who's Jason and who's the counselor.
Understandable.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier, but it's still really time consuming.
Yeah, that's definitely not a platinum or even a game I'm even looking in the direction of, to be honest. I'm not really a fan of the movies, and I'm definitely not a fan of multiplayer games of that nature. And and just looking at it from a trophy hunter point of view, forget that. But Matt, huge respect to you for sticking to it. I mean, I like to play one game at a time and commit to a game, so I totally understand and completely respect your dedication to it. So well done. Congratulations on the work you put into it. And you said Deadly Tower of Monsters as well. That was offered on PlayStation Plus a couple of months ago, wasn't it? Or earlier during this year, if I remember correctly?
Yes. I don't remember. It's free on PS Plus 1 month.
Yeah,
I think it's been in my backlog finished Friday the 13th, I wanted like a smaller and a lot shorter game. So
Yeah,
that was
can
a
imagine.
nice change of pace.
Yeah, I like that game. Funny enough, I didn't get it with PlayStation Plus. I actually bought it full out probably about a month before it went on PlayStation Plus. But them's the breaks, unfortunately, when it comes to the lucky dip that is PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
It is a good game. It's certainly unique. The perspective of you constant like climbing the tower and just like the tower is huge. It kind of reminded me a little bit when I first played it of is it Grow Home? You know, where you play as a little robot and you have to reach the top of that huge beanstalk kind of thing. The sort of the scale of it, where you're climbing a tower constantly, just trying to get higher and higher. But
I can see that.
the sort of how do you describe it? It's like 1950s sort of B movie style, isn't it? In terms of the narration and
Yes.
the overall theme. I really liked it myself,
Yeah.
and it is an easy platinum for sure.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect going into it. I just knew it was a pretty easy and short platinum, which is kind of what I was aiming for. But yeah, it was pretty enjoyable.
Oh,
Yeah.
I read it's Deadly Tower of Monsters was on the PS Plus back in November of 2006. Thank you, Tara.
Yep, I just saw that in the chat myself. Thanks, Tara.
Yeah.
That is November 2016.
Yep.
All right, then. Is that all you've been playing this week so far, then?
Those are the two games I finished up. I played a couple other random things as well. Like I played episode 3 of Batman: The Enemy Within, and then I started Splinter Cell Blacklist, and then just played a little bit more of Brawlhalla.
Okay. All right, then. I'm going to wait until my usual habit when it comes to Telltale games is I'll wait until all the episodes are out and then get the season pass, because you usually towards the end of the season, before the last episode comes out or shortly after the final episode is out, you usually find the season passes in a PlayStation Store sale. Usually, well, almost always, to be honest. That's how I picked up
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy last month. Before the final episode dropped, they had the season pass in a sale for, I think it was definitely under £15 in my region store, closer to 10.
Yeah,
So
I know
yeah.
with Batman: The Enemy Within, they were having like a promotion where if you pre-ordered the game, you got the first season for free,
Okay.
the digital download. So that's one of the reasons why I went ahead and just pre-ordered it, so I was able to play before the second season released.
Okay.
Oh, that's a pretty
So
good
it tasted
promotion.
like, and I think it was also $5 off for PS Plus members. So I think I ended up paying $25 for the 2 seasons. So I didn't think that was too bad.
No, not too bad at all. All right then. Okay, moving on. B tips. It's your turn now. What have you been playing this week?
I just platinumed Bully maybe 4 or 5 days ago
Ah,
for the PS4.
nice. That's the PS2 version running on PS4. That's the Rockstar game Bully, or over here in the European territories, Canis Canum Edits, as it's called over here. Really good game. What's your thoughts on it while you were playing it?
I thought it was a really good game. I didn't think I was going to like the story just because the game seemed a little dated from when the time I was playing it, but
Sure.
it really stuck with me. Some of the acting could have been a little better, but otherwise the game itself just running around, like being able to run around in a giant playroom, basically like a child as opposed to an adult as you do in like the GTA style games.
Yeah, it was definitely like a scaled down version of GTA, isn't it? Like it's you play as a kid, so the world is kind of smaller as well, which is I quite liked as well. I never played it back in the day on PS2 or even prior to any other console other than PS4. And when it came out with a PS2 emulation games on the store, I thought I'd give it a go, and I personally really enjoyed it. Yeah, you're right about like the acting and all that, but the game is quite an old game. But I think it's aged pretty well, all things considered. With modern open world sandbox games, it's a little stiff and a little rough around the edges, but I still think it's I definitely enjoyed it myself. And the platinum's pretty easy, isn't it? I think I'm not sure if there's like really truly missable trophies, but there's ones where you can sort of put the work in early to get it done.
There's like a few collectibles you have to get to unlock certain like wall trophies for your dorm room. and there is a trophy for getting all 36 of them, I believe.
Yeah, every time you finish a story or do a side mission or something, it gives you like a trophy or a memento that you decorate your dorm room wall with. And yeah, you're right. There is a trophy for getting all of the like kind of mementos throughout the game.
Do like the trophy list doesn't ask you to do any of the tedious things like collecting all of the like Dungeons and Dragons-esque cards for the nerds or collecting the 75 rubber bands. I'm actually very happy for that because in one of the newer editions to Bully, they put in like 2 new classes. One of which was the geography class that gave you like the locations for all the collectibles in the game, but we didn't get that for the PS4 release. So,
okay. I found some of the I think the only bits that I found annoying in that game were not. I'm going to say the classes overall in general, but I think like chemistry and shop class I think were most annoying because they were like QTE mini games, weren't they? It's been a while since I played it.
Shop class I think was easily my worst class, just because it gave you the button prompt, but you had to do it within literally like 1 second, and if you didn't do it or if you messed it up, you failed.
Yeah, there's a very small margin of error in the shop mini game. I think there's some kind of latency as well. It being like I don't know the ins and outs, but I definitely felt there was like some kind of delay that you had to press the button a little early because I do remember failing that class a few times when you're sort of fixing the bike. But other than that, the game was pretty straightforward. I liked a few of the other classes, like the English class, for example, and the PE. I would say PE class. Is that the right term? I suppose you could call it
gym class.
Gym class. That's it. Sorry, that's me being British. PE class over here. Gym class over there. Yeah, I enjoyed the gym class, playing dodgeball and all of that. Yeah, awesome game. I definitely recommend it. It usually pops up in sales as well quite often. I usually see it for really cheap in sales. Any other games you've been playing?
As soon as I platinumed Bully, I immediately jumped into Persona 5, and that's what I'm playing right now.
Oh. That's going to take a lot of time. You going to try and platinum that?
I am going to. I'm following a guide that just shows you like what to do on a day-by-day basis. And I don't know the percentage, but I just got through the second dungeon-esque area of the game. So
okay.
Yeah. Oh, just to be clear, he's following a spoiler-free guide, so this is not like going after the platinum. It's just like a mostly blind playthrough. So, is that right?
The guide guaranteed that I would get like almost all of the trophies that I would need to get the rest in New Game Plus, but that's no issue for me.
Okay.
All right. Well, best of luck with that. Those Persona games obviously take a lot of investment when it comes to time and whatnot. But yeah, I tell you what, Vec, what have you been up to?
I recently jumped back into Demon Souls.
That seems to be a continuous sort of theme at the moment amongst the Discord. I said this last week, but the theme has continued. Everyone's been going on about the Soulsborne games for about 4 weeks now on the server. Why is that?
Yeah, that's it, because we actually decided to do Soulsmas this year, so celebrating Christmas and the Soulsborne trilogy. I mean, series, just to say that. But yeah, I went back into Demon Souls just to get the platinum for the NA version. I have little to no interest on getting the other versions of the game because one, I'm poor. Second of all, I don't want to pay shipping, and besides that, I don't want to go back through that game again. Not because it's bad. I'm just saying that the grind is a bit tedious. I will say, going back to it, I did learn more about the game more than I should, and added like another layer to going back through that game, especially after already beating it once. I had to go make another save file to do it again. just to get the weapons, and that was fun, honestly. Connected to the online portion, got the drops, got the platinum, and immediately after beating Old King Durin in the most anticlimactic way possible, I think I posted it on Twitter. It was like I just stood there while he was dying from poison gas as I got the platinum.
Yeah, I saw that video that you posted.
And even still, I really enjoyed going back to that game. Besides that, the next game I decided to do is like make a poll and post it on the backlog challenge, and decided to okay, I'm gonna play. Just gonna select a random game from this, and I'm gonna 100% it. And the results were in, and I managed to get Ratchet and Clank 3, Up Your Arsenal, and I'm already halfway through completing the game the second time. So far so good.
How are you, mate? How are you enjoying Ratchet 3, by the way, just out of interest?
Yes, I just decided to skip the cutscenes because I already did it once. Because the thing is, I never did quite platinum the game, even though I still beat the game and got the challenge mode trophy. The thing is, I never did get the platinum for that game because my save file got glitched halfway through the working progress on the weapons trophy, the Omega Man, which I'm currently working on right now.
Yeah, that takes a lot of grinding. From what I recall, if I can think back far enough, 'cause it's been a while since I played that game, I ended up having to grind out a lot of the weapons upgrading in the battle arena. So I did, and you got most of the bolts from there as well. I'm glad they added the battle arena in those games. I think after from 2 onwards, because it certainly saves having to keep replaying the levels all the time. Like say with 1, for example, like to get bolts or whatnot. And upgrading the weapons is always really fun. I'm also glad they added that into the games too. But yeah, it is a grind to get all the Omega weapons fully upgraded.
Yeah, and even still, since I only have to work on those, I don't have to do a 100% playthrough of it. So I just have to focus on the weapons aspect of the game. And afterwards, I am going to grind the ever loving, great. Just get the levels on those weapons, and that's all because one really dumb crash happened that deleted the save files. So now that I decided to, okay, I'm just gonna back up 2 saves instead of 1, just in case. So
yeah, there's a lesson to be learned. Always back up your saves because you never know what will happen. All it takes is some kind of weird error to occur. I don't know, a power surge, power out, a hard lock on your console or hardware, and your data's corrupt and you'll lose all of it. So every game I play, unless it's like a really, really short game, but generally 99% of the time, when I finish a session, I will push the save up to the cloud on PSN because you just never know, So it's always best to be safe than sorry and having to retread hours and hours. I mean, even like as we've all of us here have all suffered from like having to replay sections through corrupt data, lost save files, errors, what have you. And even just replaying just an hour is annoying enough. But having to like replay a game that's like maybe 100 hours long, personally, I don't think I'd even go back to that game if I lost 100 hours worth of save data. So we have the features here now in our modern games consoles for pushing saves up to the cloud, Nintendo Switch. But we have to.
Solid jab.
Well, I'm a Switch owner, and I'd sleep a little bit safer at night if I knew I could boost my 50-hour Mario Odyssey save up to the cloud. But whatever. Fingers crossed, maybe. But anyway, this.
Oh, sorry.
No, go on. You were going to say.
Okay. Personally, I feel like if I lose like 2 hours, I decide that if I lose 2 hours in a save, I just decide to take a break and then go back at it because I get frustrated, especially in RPGs. It happened to me in Persona 5 back in the day. So, and it happened to be recently, even still. But yeah, losing game progress after you already done it is tedious.
Absolutely.
And yeah, but yeah, I think that's enough for me. So what have you been playing, Daz?
Oh, well, that's not awfully nice of you to ask. What have I been playing this week? I've been pushing on with LA Noire, the remaster for PS4. Played this game and platinumed it back on PS3. I believe on previous episodes we've actually mentioned it a few times in regards to tricky trophies.
Yep.
The collectibles, for example, you have to like drive and like air quotations collect all 95 different vehicles in the game. I haven't got to that bit yet, but that is a headache coming at a later date. But yeah, I really enjoyed the game back on the original version. I'm running it on PS4 Pro. It looks really nice in 4K, but it's still an old game, so it's not like Horizon Zero Dawn or anything like that. It's nice. The image is really nice and clear. Really good texture clarity, especially on clothes, for example. You can see like the threads on clothes, and the faces aren't as sharp as I had hoped, but then again, it's just still using like old. Oh, sorry, I just blanked the word there, but using the old sort of like textures and whatnot from the previous version of the game. Like I said, it looks nice, but it's still an old game, so it is a little rough around the edges, but looks good. Runs pretty decent. I've only noticed a few drops here and there, a little bit of screen tearing, but it's fine. The only other real thing is how to explain. The second time around, I don't think I'm enjoying it as much. I guess because I've played it before. The kind of the
No,
kind
what's
of
going on?
it's not that. It's just I guess because it's older. I don't know. I just sort of noticing more flaws in the gameplay this time around. I guess it's kind of lost its sheen. It's kind of like I'm still enjoying it, but maybe not like as much as when I originally played it. But it's definitely a unique game. There's not really been anything like it since, and there wasn't anything like it before in terms of the performance capture and the sort of nuances of facial expressions and such. It's still definitely a very unique game. The only
Yeah.
game I can really think that uses like motion capture with faces that much is like I'm only reminded of like Until Dawn, where the animation of the faces, the motion capture, performance capture, what have you, is like nuanced like that. It's not the same kind of technique used, but still. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I'm rambling. I'm definitely
Yeah.
going to platinum it, of course. I'm playing it and just going through the cases as I go along. I've done one type of collectible so far, the 50 golden film reels that are spread all around the city. And collecting them is just a chore because that game doesn't feel like it should be an open world game because there's really
I
nothing.
agree.
There's nothing to do in the open world other than like
Mhm.
street crimes, which are like these kind of like randomly
Yeah.
generated like crimes that occur in the street. And I said it on Twitter this evening while I was playing that excuse me, that the random sort of street crime missions often pop up during your main case, and you're in your car, your radio will chatter and tell you there's a crime going on somewhere in the city. You hit X or what have you, and
Yes.
it will tell you to go there. And like 9 times out of 10, the crime is occurring on the complete opposite side of the city to where you are. Then you have to drive all the way over there, trying not to hit any traffic, any pedestrians, or anything like that, because that affects your case. If you damage any of that public property, benches, traffic lights, etc., or run over anyone by accident, it you get penalised for it, and it deducts marks off the end of your case, like the 5-star
Yeah.
rating, and the
Hey,
platinum requires you to get 5-star and everything.
Yeah, I agree because you you play the game not realizing it's like a Rockstar game, so you kind of drive, like all over the place, like if it were GTA. So it's really easy to mess up your car or destroy public property.
I just
Yeah,
give it I just give it to my buddy and say, okay, you drive. And I just let him just drive all the way to the checkpoint instead of me driving towards it. You miss the banter unless you skip it.
well,
So,
that's the thing though. The you can give it to your partner to drive, but unfortunately, there's a trophy for driving and 94.7 miles, and you have to drive yourself as the player, otherwise it doesn't count towards that trophy. So
Also,
you have to drive yourself.
Also, there's a trophy for. There's another collectible trophy for getting. What is it, like 100 cars?
95.
And only counts as the car. It only counts for the collectible if Cole, your main character, is the one driving.
Yeah, when I was collecting the golden film reels, I would like, if I saw a car I'm pretty sure I haven't been in, I would quickly nip to the side and grab it. But luckily, there's a car showroom on the main menus, which is broken down into types like 2-door, 4-door, special, etc., etc. So you can see what cars you're missing if you compare a list online. So it's not the hard part of that is basically going to where the guides tell you to go and just waiting for the car to spawn. And that's what I did back on the PS3 version. I had to stand basically in a crosswalk and just wait for a car to spawn. I think I didn't get in. Eventually, I got it. It's just a weird collectible, like to collect the 95 cars. It just seems like a bit over the top, to be honest.
It does.
Collect it is just get in the car, and that counts as collecting it, right? Like you don't have to drive it anywhere.
Yeah, just literally getting in and sitting in the driver's seat, it counts as it being collected. But a lot of cars look the same. Like a lot of model cars for that era, for that time period, look very similar. So,
Right.
And also color variations as well. So you'll get in a car that you think, oh, I definitely don't have this one, but it turns out just to be a slightly different look, or to it's really not that much different to the car you're looking for. I found back when I was doing it on PS3, I looked up some YouTube videos and looked for specific details on the car, like the grille at the front or wheel arches or something. When it comes down to like the last 3 or 4 cars, it can be a real pain. But yeah, I just going back real quickly to what I said, it doesn't feel like it should be an open world game, because when you go looking for them golden film reels, the world's empty. They're just put out in such desolate areas when nothing's going on.
Yeah, there's literally nothing to do in the game aside from like the random crime missions. But after you do them, because there's only like a certain number of them to specific cases, and as soon as you do all of them for one case, and there's literally nothing to do in the world at that point.
And then also in the remastered version, they added 2 extra DLC trophies for collectibles, right?
Yeah, the novels and the what was it? Novels and records. Yeah, novels and records.
Are there a lot of those, or not too many?
I haven't collected them yet, but I think there is, off the top of my head, 20 records and 8 novels. I think. Don't quote me on that, but they're considerably smaller than the golden reel. And you don't have to. There's badges to collect in the game, but they're not tied to any specific trophy. Like back in PS3 version, they were just sort of optional. They give you a little bit of XP. But and just on the topic of XP, I think having an XP leveling system in that game is completely redundant. You don't need it. It doesn't actually provide anything. You unlock suits, and gives you more intuition points. But really, it doesn't add anything to the game at all. I don't see the point of them adding XP. It doesn't really do anything.
Just going back to one thing before we move on to the next segment. One of the things that we mentioned is like the overworld being barren as hell. I would think that some aspects you go like into a boxing match, so sometimes you get to a pool table. Like maybe, just maybe, if this was made back to this year, they would implement like mini games like pool or darts, or maybe like drinking with your buddy ex-cop. Like it could have been interesting, that the dynamic, but not like more online though, but like something that you can do in game as a small like
pastime between missions.
Yeah, pastime that isn't like.
Yeah, I agree. It would be tricky to fit in the context because Cole's like a cop, so his particular character, he doesn't seem too sociable. But I understand. There's actually, when I was looking for the golden film reels, I actually stumbled across a mini golf course, and I was thinking, why is this not a mini game in here? There's a golf course in this game.
There's a golf course in the Noir. I need to go back to it and see if this.
The main character doesn't seem like the type to go out and be social. So
have fun.
Yeah, he's pretty uptight.
He's super focused on his job.
I can see him getting a drink or two after the case is done, but I can't see him afterwards like hanging out. But
He has
it
enough
would
time
be
to
interesting.
find collectibles.
Yeah.
Yeah, the collectibles just feel added on just to justify the fact that the map is open. It just feels like mindless time filler. And like a fool, there I am collecting all these bloody film reels because filling out the time with mindless chores. But yeah, overall it's fine. Just to recap, I'm not enjoying it as much as I did back on PS3, but I'm still enjoying it enough. I've actually been playing it a lot on my PS Vita through remote play because when I was doing the collectibles, the golden film reels the other day, I didn't want to just sit in front of my PS4 just mindlessly going around finding them. So what I did is I went downstairs and I had my Vita on remote play and I sat in the living room and I watched some TV, I watched some movies, but I had on the armrest of my chair, I had my iPad with the collectibles video, and I was just playing it on my Vita, and I was just driving around the city. So it made it a little bit more enjoyable for myself. But the only downside with that is I played a few cases as well, but the for some reason that game, the latency on that game in terms of remote play is pretty poor. I don't think it's my internet because a lot of my games that I play through remote play are actually okay, pretty fine. But yeah, so the delay when driving a car is like pretty deadly.
Incredibly noticeable.
Sorry?
Incredibly noticeable.
Oh, definitely. So, like, where I'm in the middle of a case and I don't want to hit anyone in the car while I'm driving because it will affect my score, the lag would just kick in out of nowhere, and the car would just turn like 90 degrees straight into like a load of pedestrians, even though I didn't even move the analog stick that way. So it's dangerous playing it on remote play if you want a 5-star score. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, we talked enough about what we've been playing this week. So, shall we move on to the news, Vic? Do you want to take it away and give us our news stories for this week?
Okay, so I already sent it to every single one of you guys. So let's start up from the beginning. So we're gonna start off light, and then we're gonna get to the real stuff later. So first things first, Tomb Raider just got an announcement that a new game is coming from the Twitter account on the on the Twitter account. So Square Enix posted a screenshot of text saying basically a new Tomb Raider is coming, and they're really excited to show it to every single one of us. And it's coming into a major event coming next year. So, any of you guys have anything to say about this?
Go on, you guys go first.
I've never played the original, Tomb Raiders on like PlayStation 2. I only just got into Tomb Raider via the definitive edition that came out for PS4 and Xbox One, or just consoles in general. I really liked it. I thought it was very Uncharted-esque, even though Tomb Raider came first. But
yes,
I never played whatever the second one was, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't touched it, so I don't know how to feel about a new Tomb Raider. But I mean, if it was just as cool as the first two, I don't see why this one won't be.
Okay. What about you, Pi?
Yeah, kind of the same deal with B-Tips. I didn't play like all the old ones. I did play through was it like 2013 or 2014, the reboot on PS4, and then I just briefly played a couple hours of Rise of the Tomb Raider. But from what I've played, I mean, they were pretty fun and enjoyable games. Will I get Shadow of the Tomb Raider? I'm not sure. Maybe eventually, like if it's on a good sale, but I don't see why it won't be a good game. I'm sure if I were to get it, I would enjoy it, but it's not high on my list of a game that I would fangirl over.
Okay. What about you, Daz?
Personally, I've not played any of the rebooted Tomb Raider games. Not really. The same kind of thing I apply to like Assassin's Creed games, sort of in general. I'm sure the games are fine. They're just not really something that appeals to me. I know they're Uncharted-like, but I've just never really been that interested in them. My girlfriend plays them, so I've observed them, and they look fine. It's just not really a franchise that's really too interesting to me. But I don't know if Look, it may change. I may change my opinion if and when this third one, well, definitely when this third one will appear. I mean, was there ever a question there wasn't going to be a third one? I mean, there was a bit of sort of like there's a bit of shaky ground around the whole the sales of it because it was an Xbox exclusive for a year. Didn't really know how well it did on PS4, but obviously it's a profitable franchise again because they wouldn't be making a third installment of it.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
excited.
know. I can't really speak too much about it anyway, because I've not played them, so I don't really have too much of an opinion on them. But people who enjoyed them, I hope they're excited for it.
Okay, so yeah, next article I got here. So Daz, remember
Hello.
last week when we talked about Devil May Cry for like an hour? And
Is that
and
the episode that we named specifically after Devil May Cry?
yes, I have a proposition for you. Hey, remember that time we talked about that game, and then immediately after you said there's not going to be any announcement on Devil May Cry? Well, we got an announcement on Devil May Cry. We got the HD collection coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One early next year.
Well done. Well, I've seen this. I saw it when it was announced, and as I said on Twitter, I'll recap now on here. Not really interested, to be honest. I'm a big fan of Devil May Cry back in the day, but as I said in my tweet, when I played the HD collection on PS3, hadn't aged well. One for sure, which actually I think I said last week as well on the podcast that the first Devil May Cry definitely has not aged well, but back in the day it was really awesome.
Yes.
Two, I have no love for that game. I think that game's awful. So less said about that, the better. Three, really good game, but again, I don't think it's aged very well, and I felt that back on the PS3 versions of the game. So I'm definitely will feel that on the PS4 version. So it's a pass from me. I feel. Yeah,
Okay.
no real interest in going back and playing them again. I'll be more interested in a newer edition installment to the franchise than Capcom just sort of rehashing collections over and over again. You know.
No, my interest is that this game is the trilogy. It's just going to be the first three games. The fourth game is already on PS4 as
Yes.
a special edition. So people thought they were complaining that Devil May Cry collection didn't include Devil May Cry 4, and what do you know? Devil May Cry 4 is now on the PS4. So that leads me to believe that when Devil May Cry 5 gets eventually announced next year, that's my bet that it will get released next year. It won't get released next year. It will get announced next year because Capcom has been pushing their IPs even further, which brings me to another point later on. But Pi, B-Tips, what do you think about this story?
I have never played a Devil May Cry game, so I don't really have much input. They don't really seem like games that would interest me all that much.
As someone who's never played them, I would say playing the PS4 versions of them probably wouldn't do it any justice in terms of representing what those games were like back in the day. As I said, they haven't aged well, in my opinion. Especially one, of course, being the oldest game, is quite stiff with a camera, and Dante doesn't move very well in that game compared to, like, say, modern hack and slash games. He feels very restricted in that game compared to the like the third entry and then like DMC, Devil May Cry. So I probably, if you haven't had them growing up or they're not nostalgic to you, probably not a great place to start, I would say.
Yeah,
Andy?
Tips, what about you?
They're not really high on my list.
No,
So.
wait. I think Pi wants to say something, and then we move on to B-Tips. Pi?
I was just saying that the games really aren't high on my list of games I would get, so I probably won't get them either way.
Okay. B-Tips?
I didn't play the first three Devil May Cries growing up, but I did get into Devil May Cry 4 on the PS3. and I enjoyed what I did play of it after, going back and watching YouTube videos of the previous games, so I know what the hell was going on. But will I buy the HD collection? I probably won't, just because while Devil May Cry is a fun game, it's just not. I'm not into hack and slashers that get super in depth with difficulty. So
Okay, that's
and
understandable.
Devil May Cry has like 8 difficulties per game.
Yes, and the platinum is gonna be really, really tough. Just getting it.
I never went for the platinum in Devil May Cry 4, and I probably, like, even if I did buy the HD collection, I probably wouldn't put the platinum in those. But I mean, it's a fun series. I mean, I recommend it to anyone who likes that kind of thing. But
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's everyone's thoughts on Devil May Cry HD collection. I'm interested. I'll probably get it, but since I already got the Devil May Cry on the PS3, I'll probably not. But maybe for someone in my family that also plays video games, yeah, I will. But then again, I'll just move on to the next one, which is so I mentioned one of the things that happened this week was very interesting. So anyone played Destiny 2?
No, not me. Sorry.
Nope.
I played Destiny 1, never got into Destiny 2.
Okay. So okay, I have good and bad news. If you're interested in ever going back to that game and getting the platinum, you may have to purchase another expansion in order to get it. So this is the interesting part. Destiny 2 got a really good DLC, which is called The Curse of Osiris. So in this expansion, they increased the level cap to Destiny 2 characters to 330. Now, that being said, one of the things that happened is that without the expansion, they basically capped the level to 305. Now, if you want to get the end game content for Destiny 2, you need to reach 330, but that requires you to get the DLC. Now, what does that mean to us trophy hunters? Well, I got bad news for you. If you're thinking about getting Destiny 2 at the moment, don't. Unless you want to pay $20 extra for one gold trophy. Yes. You require to get the trophy itself. It's called Prestige, which is completing a Leviathan raid or a Nightfall strike on Prestige difficulty. Now, with the Curse of Osiris increasing the power level to 330 and not requiring the enough levels to get like to 300 in base game, basically the prestige events now require you to have that level cap, and in order to complete it, you have to pay the DLC. So that sucks to many people because that becomes unattainable. And this is really interesting because us trophy hunters, we require to have like these types of trophies like base game without purchasing any extra content in order to complete them. I want to know your thoughts about this. So
I guess I'll speak first. I That's kind of the thing that, I mean, Destiny 1 never had that issue, but it just seems like G has something that it really needs to do when it comes to DLC. Like, it really needs to put the DLC out there. 'Cause in my honest opinion, I feel like the DLC is just to give the game more of a reason to be playable. Because,
yes,
when Destiny and Destiny 2 first came out, it seems like they just weren't finished in a way.
mm,
So the DLC is just, Bungie's way of saying, we're just giving you an unfinished game and we're just going to, DLC it all in later.
Well,
But
I think when Destiny 2, just before it launched, we analysed the trophy list here on the podcast, and I think we made the fair assumption at the time that based on the what was it, like 14 or 16 trophies, the minuscule trophy list that game had led us to believe, and it seems to be correct, that the base game is just a foundation from like many future DLC packs to be added onto it. Because why would there be such a tiny, almost like non-existent basic trophy list if there wasn't going to be additions made to fill out that trophy list in future with future updates? And it seems like that's going to be the case. They definitely have launched Destiny, just the base game, as just a platform, and then they can tie as much DLC on as they can make, basically.
Yep. And looking back to it, it's like you see it now on PSN profiles as unattainable, but it's only unattainable because it requires you to get the DLC at the moment. So, Pi, want to weigh in on this discussion, or are you cool?
I mean, yeah, I think it's shitty, and kind of what Daz said. I mean, going forward, they were planning for this game to expand and expand with future DLC, and I guess their assumption is probably that most people who are getting the base game are probably going to be getting the future DLC to play anyway. So I don't know if that's their reasoning or not, but it's still kind of shitty. And it kind of reminds me of with Life is Strange Before the Storm, because when that trophy list was first revealed, that platinum was hidden behind getting the deluxe edition, which required getting, because if you bought the deluxe edition, you got the bonus farewell max episode or whatever, which was in the trophy list for the platinum. And like people complained, and Square Enix was very quick on fixing that. So now you can just get the platinum in the base game. But I mean, Activision and Bungie, they seem to know what they're doing and purposely doing like this, because I think they're just trying to promote people to get the DLC. Because like I said, I haven't played Destiny 2 at all, but from what it seems like with a lot of people, like before this DLC came out, like it was kind of dead and there was not much endgame content and stuff like that. So they're just trying to get people to go back and play it. But it is pretty shitty of them to do that.
Yep. And normally you don't normally go against it unless it's like particular online components being shut down that don't lock you out with a trophy, which I know many of you here have that same gripe with the online aspects of some games. And this is even worse because it's not only an online game, it also is part of something that's supposed to be a part. But yeah, moving on, we got one more thing that we want to talk about, which is the last night. Any of you guys watch last night's big gaming awards?
No, I watched most of it.
Okay.
No, it was on a little too early for my time zone, unfortunately.
Oh, so I guess I'm the only one who watched it.
I watched it from beginning to end.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched pretty much most of it as well. Back to during the middle of it, but for the most part, I watched it.
Now, normally I would like to say it completely what we got around this time, but just to keep it straight and simple, we're just going to mention the game reaction. So, first of all, the big one, Death Stranding. That trailer, that was a 8-minute trailer of that game. I thought that was amazing. That was a great trailer.
I don't know what I saw in that trailer, but it was pretty. I mean, the game looks very, very gorgeous, graphics wise, but I don't know what I was supposed to see in the trailer.
Okay.
I agree. I agree. It was, I mean, very intense and stuff like that, but it was almost like a movie, so I don't really know what to expect gameplay wise, like what we're actually going to be doing. it's kind of cool that Norman Reedus is in it,
Mhm.
but I felt like the trailer kind of dragged on. But
yeah.
I'll be interested to see some gameplay and learn more about it as time goes on.
Honestly,
Okay.
I honestly feel like even Norman Reedus doesn't know what the hell he's stood up for.
I'm also not quite sure why they brought them onto this because they pretty much just went up there and they're like, "Yeah, that was awesome. I love this guy. Do anything for him. All right, thanks." And they just walked off the stage.
That seemed a little awkward, but the Game Awards always have their own.
Yeah.
Every year has its own version of awkwardness, but
Yeah.
What about you, Daz?
Well, I think we're 3 trailers into Death Stranding now, and we seem to know less and less, and every time, because where they're revealing more imagery, footage, what have you, of the game, it just raises more questions than answers any at all. I don't think any questions have been answered, and it's just constantly raising more. And yeah, it's really bizarre. Like that kind of bizarreness was present in Metal Gear Solid 5 to some extent, but this is like full blown like Kojima weirdness. Yeah, I to be honest, I don't really have much of a comment on it. It's I'm interested in it. I've grown up playing Hideo Kojima's games. It's cool that he's got some famous faces in it, that's for sure. Mads Mikkelsen and Norman Reedus, and I'm not sure if he's appearing in the final game, but Guillermo del Toro as well.
I'd like to believe Guillermo del Toro is going to be in it.
Yeah.
He's got himself a nice little group of friends. He's put his friends in the game.
Yeah.
Friends with benefits, huh?
Yeah.
Don't really know what to make of it. We
That's
literally know
gonna be the
nothing.
podcast title now. Friends with benefits.
Sure. Go for it.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't know what the gameplay is. I'm going to make the assumption that it's probably going to be similar to Metal Gear Solid in terms of like just basic gameplay, like kind of third person action kind of game. But
that's what I was thinking as well.
Because that's what Kojima makes. Those are his type of games. But in terms of like stealth or anything like that, no, I can't jump to any conclusions or make any assumptions yet. But certainly a unique looking game, that's for sure. Very bizarre. It reminds me of those kind of like freaky PS2, PS3 era TV commercials, and like, do you know, like when a console was first launched, you get like weird tech demos. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
It's just reminding me of the old PS3 commercials.
Yes, I retweeted that. It was like someone posted like what was it? Death Stranding 2017 trailer. Yeah, and it was actually just the baby with the PS3.
Yeah,
it was
I remember that.
But for me, at least, Death Stranding both introduces a new layer of plot that I never knew they could do. Also, I think this game is gonna be like multi-dimensional. Like you're gonna be swapping between dimensions because one of the things that Norman Reedus says is like 2 explosions happened, and I was like, oh, one happened and then the other happened. It's like you expect to be like multiple explosions, but exactly it's like 2 explosions, so it could be like
some kind of explosion that caused a tear in reality. Is that
correct?
Kind of?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna jump on the bandwagon for like theories on Twitter. Everyone's going a bit mad over like they're like cobbling together all kinds of theories and like analyzing the trailer for details. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'll just wait for the game to be revealed in its full glory, rather than try and piece together bits of trailers. And that's not just with Death Stranding, just in general when like trailers come out, especially like with the. Do you remember like when the Metal Gear Solid 5, the very first trailer came out, and they didn't announce it was a Metal Gear Solid game, and Kojima was in disguise as a different person, and Moby Dick Studios and all of that, and a lot of people tried to theorize what that was all about. I didn't get caught up in that either. I left that to the tinfoil hat wearing people.
Yeah, that's just gonna be a last thing, but my favorite thing was that someone commented like I was with a group in voice chat during that time, so he reacted live. One of our reactions was literally, okay, Konami basically made Kojima sane. This is insane. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. So the other thing that got announced was apparently From Software teased a 5-second video with the caption "Shadows dies twice." This trailer is basically like you see like a scroll behind and like a bone like moving, and then the text happens.
Jumping on the theory bandwagon there for a sec.
Yes.
Referring to Shadows Die Twice. I'm hearing a lot of rumors that it's like a remake of From Software's older games. Like, I think it was Dark Tower, is what I heard.
Shadows Die Twice sounds like the title for a James Bond movie, if I'm honest.
It does, actually. But apparently, Shadows Die Twice could also be a Tenchu game, like those old like ninja games that I guess From Software worked on. But
everyone's expecting like a new sort of like Soulsborne game, aren't they? They're expecting either a new Bloodborne or something to do with Souls. But I think, don't you think that they're kind of like burnt out on those games and they want to do something different?
As much as I would really love another Soulsborne type of game, I have a feeling this probably won't be one of those kind of games.
Just to throw in my... sorry.
I was just going to say, they've been doing these Soulsborne games for like a good long time now. So I think maybe they want to start, maybe they want to just start something new, but everyone's jumping the gun and assuming because of the dark kind of nature of their games in general, and of this trailer at least, maybe people are assuming too much too soon.
For me, it's like it could be either what B-Tip said and a combination of the Demon Souls service getting shut down. It feels like it's gonna be like a going back again because it says twice, so it's something that never happened again. So my theory is like, okay, it could be Dark Souls remastered, Demon Souls remastered, or maybe the older games from Software remastered. I can't see the Dark Souls 2 nor Dark Souls 3 because those games are already on the PS4.
I mean,
but I can't see it, and I can't see it as a Bloodborne game because of the scrolls on the background being too gibberish. It doesn't look like it's going to be like a Bloodborne aesthetic. So
I would agree with you to an extent, but the fact that die and twice are capitalized, I can't see it being like a remaster or a report of any of the Soul series. I have a feeling this is what From Software's like next game is going to be. I don't know if it's I don't know what you call those parts of the game that come after the colon, but
okay. Subtitle.
It's going to be like a subtitle. It's going to be like so and so Shadows Die Twice. Something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Pi, you got anything else before we move on to the next thing?
No, not really. I mean, I haven't played any of the Souls games or anything like that, so I don't really know what to expect.
Okay. So I'm just gonna briefly mention these games. So we got two trailers, one for Soul Calibur 6 and one in the Valley of the Gods. Now, Namco Bandai was also teasing this one, and this was also leaked. Bandai Namco was leaking the Soul Calibur 6 being like going back to this game. Now, the other one is actually in the Valley of the Gods, which is a made by the same guys who made Firewatch. So, what do you guys think of those?
If nothing else, In the Valley of the Gods is just the best sound. Like, it's just the best title of a game I've ever heard.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I never played Firewatch, but I really wanted to get into it, and I heard great things. But if those reviews are anything to go by, then I have a feeling In the Valley of Gods is going to be just as good.
Yes.
Soul Calibur, I have never been into fighting games. Well, I've never been into the Soul Calibur series, I should say. So I really have nothing to add to that.
Yeah, I'll second that as well on the Soul Calibur side. I'm woefully poor at fighting games, so I've never had any interest in them. So Soul Calibur is a complete pass for me. And in
What
the Valley of the Gods, I haven't actually seen any of it yet because I haven't really caught up with all of the trailers and footage and images. But if it's from the developers of Firewatch, yeah, I'll definitely interest is piqued immediately because I really like Firewatch.
What about you, Pi? You got any thoughts on both?
Well, same thing as B Tips and Daz. I don't really like fighting games too much, nor am I very good at them. So that's going to be a pass for me. But I'm familiar with Firewatch, so I don't know how the Valley of the Gods will be based on that. But from the trailer, it looked like a pretty interesting and cool game. I really like the music and the song that was in the background playing during it, though. It's really catchy.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's all our thoughts until then. The other games I want to mention just quickly. Media Molecule's new game Dreams, A Way Out, which is the co-op game that's coming out early next year, made by the same developers of Brothers Tale of Two Sons. And one I'm particularly no, there's two more. Metro Exodus and Witchfire. Any of you got any thoughts on those?
Well, sorry, what was the first one again?
Dreams.
Dreams. Yeah, I watched the trailer to that, and that basically that trailer makes about as much sense as the Death Stranding trailer to me. So I'm not disregarding it or anything. I'm not a big fan of the Little Big Planet, that kind of create, plate, share kind of thing, but I'm open to it. It makes me wonder though if that game was retooled to have PSVR support. I wonder if they'll have PSVR for that game because it seems like it could be quite interesting for a sort of first-person perspective. But anyway, I digress. The trailer looks really interesting. It looks like basically a game where you can make any game you want if you put enough time and practice into it. Kind of like a Little Big Planet, really. The kind of play, create, share philosophy is alive in this game as well. That's the kind of part of Little Big Planet I didn't get into or didn't really enjoy. I didn't really have the patience to make games or levels or designs myself. I just played the story modes, rush through the story mode. So I don't know if it's similar to that, similar to Little Big Planet in that regard. I probably won't be that interested in it, but still too early to tell. And as for the other games, the one from the developers of Brothers, yeah, that looks really interesting. What was it called?
A Way Out.
Yeah, yeah, I was interested in that when I saw the first trailer for it. It's couch co-op, but it can be couch co-op as well as online, so that's quite interesting as well. So that's good for me. Or it's going to be an interesting experience anyway. Kind of like escape from jail, isn't it? Using co-op to escape from jail and overcome obstacles. And the last two games I haven't actually heard of. Like I said, I haven't caught up with all the news yet myself. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Metro. That's that was announced a little while ago, wasn't it? I remember seeing the trailer to it. Tried the Metro games, or at least one of them. Not really for me. Didn't quite get into it, so doesn't really resonate with me. That announcement. Yeah.
Okay. Any of you guys B tips? Just to end this segment.
I don't have too much input on those games. I mean, Metro Exodus looks fun. I haven't tried the other two, but I have them. I'd like to play them at some point. The concept and the setting are interesting to me, so I'm looking forward to seeing some more gameplay of that.
Yes. B tips?
A Way Out is looks interesting to me as well, just based on the fact that I can play online, because I thought it was specifically tailored to couch co-op play, much like like Brothers was. Metro Exodus also seems interesting to me because I'm very into apocalyptic style games. And I played the first Metro a little bit, but I never got to finish it. But I did buy both both PS4 versions of Metro and Metro Last Light. So I plan on getting into those at some point before Metro Exodus comes out. Aside from that, games is an interesting take on a game to me, just based on apparently what you can do in it. But I have zero interest in creating anything because my creativity is very low. But I don't even remember what the last game was, so I can't really give my. Yeah, Witchfire. I have no impressions on because I don't remember I don't remember watching the trailer. So it's just not impressionable on me.
Okay. Personally, I feel like Dreams is gonna be that one game I'm gonna play just to learn the other people's levels. And looking at the trailer, I feel like I'm gonna enjoy playing other people's dreams, as they are called. A Way Out, I feel like it's gonna be that game I may or may not try, but it's gonna be one of those games that I can personally see it being on PS Plus sometime in the future. But then again, I wouldn't say the same to Metro Exodus, which that game looks interesting, looks fun. I've never played a Metro game before. I never played neither Metro 2033 nor Metro Last Light, though the setting in Russia is honestly one of my favorites. I've seen it accurately describes what would happen in a post-apocalyptic scenario after a nuclear warhead bombs Russia. And the last one, which is Witchfire, I'm heavily excited about because it's made by the same people that made Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Painkiller, and Bulletstorm, which I'm going to jump into Painkiller and Bulletstorm soon. Those games look fun. And yeah, I think that's all for the Game Awards.
I'm gonna stop you real quick. Just a little bit of game trivia. Metro games are based on a Russian novelization. So
it's always fun.
Little quick trivia thing there.
Oh, that's
cool.
We
can move on now.
Okay, so that's about it for news this week. I didn't want to extend it that much, so Daz, when you take it from here with the Tricky Trophy segment.
Absolutely. Okay, well now comes one of our main sections, one of our more fun segments actually, in terms of like anecdotes and peering into our psychologies as gamers. Now is our Tricky Trophy segment, where we look back through our trophy collections at some of the most challenging, rage-inducing gameplay, or just plain boring and grinding we've had to endure for a single trophy. And I tell you what, let's do our new guys first, shall we? BT, why don't you start off first? BT,
Absolutely.
sorry, my mistake.
It's no problem. My trophy that I invested many weeks upon weeks just getting this one trophy is Personal Decorator from Call of Duty Black Ops 3. This trophy is extremely aggravating because it's not just one singular thing that you have to do. There are 12 to 15 decorations, I think, you have to get in the game. A lot of them are very grindy, very rage-inducing. One of them is to beat the game on realistic difficulty, which if you get shot once, you die. Another one is to beat Combat Simulator on realistic difficulty, which again is one shot, you die. And you start all over from wave 1, and I think there's 15 waves. There is
from a just sorry to interrupt, but from my personal taste in games, I've never thought that Call of Duty games are particularly fun to like get the platinum for. That's just me. They always seem like really challenging on the harder modes of the campaign, and now they have like trophies on online multiplayer as well. For me, that's a complete turn off.
It seems to be just the Treyarch games. Like the DLC for Treyarch games usually just tailor to the zombies mode aspect of their games. But when it comes to the single player, they always tend to go above and beyond, which I don't understand. I don't know why you want to, piss off your fan base that much, but currently, and I don't know if it's been updated. I'm going to check while I'm in the middle of talking, but personal decorator is only held by 0.1% according to the PS4 trophy list.
Ooh,
So
a rare one.
It's just super long. Another thing that you have to do is unlock all of the skins for every single gun in single player. And to unlock all of the skins, you have to get upwards of 5,000 kills with every weapon.
Oh man,
So
that sounds like quite a chore.
That means I had there are a few levels where enemies just nonstop spawn until you do something specific. But I had to literally sit there for hours upon hours just killing the same enemy over and over again just to unlock specific things. And I'm afraid of admitting this, but the combat simulator realistic difficulty I mentioned earlier, I didn't even do legit. There was a glitch. I don't know if it's patched or not. That's where you can basically turn on God mode so you don't die in the simulator. So that's how I managed to get that part done. But everything else is trophy is just brutal. If you're going for platinum, this is going to be literally the hardest thing that you have to overcome.
Oof.
Yeah,
Nothing
definitely
else
not
comes
something.
close.
Does not sound like an attractive proposition, to be honest.
No,
Not
it
at all.
doesn't. Okay.
Okay. Next up, Vec, why don't you take it from here?
Are you sure? I want to give it to Pi.
Oh, all right then. Five.
All right. Mine is going to be from Friday the 13th, the game, and it's called Gotta Kill 'Em All, which is for killing 1,313 counselors. And
That is
yeah,
just
that
absurd.
it wasn't hard at all. It just took a lot of time. And so, like as I said earlier, you can boost these in private matches, which is what my boosting partner and I did. And so what we did was we started the match, and then if I were Jason, as soon as it started, he would tell me where he was. I would morph to him, kill him right away, and then we just rinse and repeat. So once the game started, actually morphing to him and killing him didn't take long at all. It only took maybe 20 to 30 seconds. But with all of the loading time and stuff like that, each match took 2.5 to 3 minutes. So we were finishing, I was getting about 100 kills or so every hours. So to get 113 kills, it took a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have to grind in games like that, the idea is the method is quick, like you said. You can, if you've got someone who's helping you boost, the method is quick, but you often forget or don't take into consideration loading times, for example. If a game has a long loading screen, it can just make the grinds almost practically unbearable, or especially with online as well. I can imagine like you said with private as well, private matches, but still though, matchmaking and stuff, waiting in if you've got multiplayer trophies and you're sitting in a waiting room on a server, and sometimes you can just be there sitting there for 5 minutes before anything even happens. This all this all compounds the frustration of online multiplayer trophies.
And
honestly, sorry.
I was gonna say, the trophy for playing 1,000 matches as Jason is actually quite a bit rarer than killing the 1,313 counselors, just because I'm assuming if you play online a lot and if you're Jason, you'll be getting up to 7 or 8 kills per match, whereas that was not the case for me. Going into boosting straight for the platinum, I didn't have as many kills. So like as soon as I got the trophy for playing 1,000 matches as Jason, I still had to play another like 420 matches as Jason just to finish getting off all the kills before we switch to get all the kills.
Ew.
It's still crazy. I'm still having trouble processing that, like how much time and effort you had to put into that game. But I mean, by the end of that experience for you, would you say you were pretty sick to death of that game? Do you think you'd ever go back to it, or did you enjoy the whole time with it?
I definitely didn't enjoy my entire time with it, especially toward the end. I originally got the game because I had some friends who were playing it. That they were playing it like since launch. I got it a little bit after launch, so by the time I got it, they weren't playing it as much anymore, and I only played like a few matches here and there with them. But I mean, if they were to go back and play some matches, I would probably go back and play a little bit with them.
Sure.
But I don't think I'll go back and like play online public matches with random people just for the hell of it.
Well, you've got yourself I imagine, a very rare platinum to be proud of. But that's something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As I was expecting, but it's my rarest trophy now, so it looks nice on my profile.
Personally, can't fathom the idea of playing that many matches. But just that the whole trophy list for that game just seems brutal.
Yes. It reminds me of the Battlefield Bad Company 2 trophy list for the online portion. Any of you played Battlefield Bad Company?
No, I was going to ask you what does that entail? What kind? Give me an example.
In Battlefield Bad Company 1, it requires you to get all the awards and get like I think 10,002 kills in like overall. And that requires you to do an insane amount of grinding in that game. Now, since the servers are basically either they're dead and they're filled with many people who are prestige, like really, really good players.
Just the diehard fans that refuse to move on.
Yes, basically. And still have their PS3 running for some reason. But yeah. Besides that, no. That's an impressive trophy list, by the way. The Fighter 13, and I applaud you for actually doing it. I've seen people doing it. I don't expect myself going after it, but
hell no.
Kudos to anyone who does like multiplayer online games that are super grindy. You are really, really, really brave.
I was very fortunate to have a really good boosting partner because, like going in, he said that he likes to just like finish games as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and get them over with. So it's not like we were playing just a little bit every now and then. We were like, as soon as we got home from work, like we'd basically just play that for like 7 or 8 hours. And then last weekend, between Saturday and Sunday combined, I think we played about 24 hours.
Ooh.
So we were both committed to getting it, so we just sat down and just grinded through it and got through it, relatively speaking, fairly quickly.
Yeah, going back to what Daz said around the beginning of the podcast, where he focuses on one game at a time. I'm the same way. So if I ever had to do Friday the 13th, I would have to commit to it until I platinumed it, and I feel like as soon as I got the platinum, I would never want to see that game again.
Yeah, that's what you said about like my philosophy of playing one game at a time. When I platinumed GTA 5 and I put like almost 200 hours into that game overall, including GTA Online, by the end of that game, like, I know it sounds a little melodramatic, but by the end of that game actually made me feel nauseous every time like I like would be on a loading screen loading to get up into the game, because it's just so like the game almost made me feel physically sick because I was just so fed up with playing that game and grinding out GTA Online to get to level 100. Because I said it before that GTA Online I think is crap. I think it's a bad online multiplayer experience. It's just either really sparse or like people are just dicking around and not really playing games properly. You have to find custom matches to get the best XP. again, just my opinion. I just think it's a bad online multiplayer experience, but I digress. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's
one last thing.
just push on for now and move on to
Yeah.
let's just get moving on. Move on to Vec. What's your
Okay.
tricky trophy?
Mine comes from Tornado Outbreak. Now,
Oh,
tips.
still going on about this game. Yes.
Yeah, I think this is the last time I ever speak of this game.
I
So
knew he was going to bring this game up.
yes,
Well, come on in. Let's hear it.
knows the story. He lived through it with me. My frustration getting this platinum. So the trophy itself, it's called Waldo's Daddy, which is getting all the unlocking every single bonus material. Now, if you go to PSN profiles and look at the dates on the timestamps, you can see like a pretty huge gap between the people who have obtained this game's platinum. Like you can see like 2, 4, 6 people getting the platinum this year, while other people getting it from 2015, 16, like 3 people, and then 2015 get less and less and less. The thing is, this trophy by itself, it's tedious enough because it requires you to 100% the game. Now, that seems easy enough, except when you consider that one of the 100% requirements is getting the highest score possible in every single level. And high scores is something that I normally don't go after when playing a 100% a game. But the 100% on getting the high score on the individual things requires you to get a higher multiplier, which requires you to, as a tornado, collect a bunch of like little flames that allow you to rack up your multiplier at the end of the combo. So you have to find out which is the best place to start and start from there as a medium tornado and then grow in size while you get boost of speed trying to get it. Now, this shouldn't be that hard unless you look at the level design and then you realize some of these levels are so sporadic and big or so like barren with items that you can't make a really good combo out of these or grow enough to become like enough so I can get the high score. And it at the end, I was in tears when I got that platinum. And that B-Tips was there. Like he was trying to get bullied at the time, and we were basically on voice chat. And immediately after, he heard my sigh of relief about getting the last high score possible. And I said, I already got the platinum. I don't even give a shit. The high scores, don't go for them. Just play the game. It's a good game. Just don't get the platinum.
Yeah,
so
Vec practically jumped out of his seat when he got the platinum.
Oh yeah, I was honestly debating whether or not to post it as a November or a December platinum.
Yeah, I remember that was a whole thing we were talking about in the chat.
Yep.
Well, now you've got it though, and just like with the Friday the 13th platinum, is something that you can, I guess, be proud of. I mean, with all the effort that you put in and dedication to a platinum or just a trophy in general, that's particularly taxing on the patience and frustration. At least now, whenever I get a particularly hard trophy or particularly tricky trophy, and I get it done, I can look back at it and use it as a comparison for when I'm playing like games in future that are hard. Like for example, this isn't my tricky trophy, but just for example, like getting the platinum trophy for Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, like all 3 of them, but mainly just the first game. Yeah, I use it as like inspirational to myself, kind of wrong sort of use of word there, but basically to encourage myself. So I think, well, if I can do the time trials in Crash Bandicoot 1, I can definitely do this game here. Just example, this game XYZ here. because I've done hard games in the past, so I can use it to sort of positively motivate myself. And the same, if you have a really hard platinum or one that required a lot of time and effort put in, you can always use that to look back and think like, look, I've done this, I can definitely do this future game.
Oh, I'm 100% with you there, because as soon as I got the platinum for The Last of Us, I immediately, in conjunction with getting the platinum for The Last of Us on the PS4, I was playing Grounded mode, which is like one of the updated trophy lists.
Yeah.
And basically my mentality is, if I can get, the Grounded mode trophy on Last of Us, I can easily get this trophy. Or not easily, just, working on it.
Yeah, you can use it to keep your morale up, I guess, whilst gaming. We speak of it as in like morale and trying not to be depressed by gaming, when gaming itself is supposed to be entertainment. But I guess people like trophy hunters or people who are completionists tend to take gaming a little too hard and a little too serious at times.
Trophy hunters, speedrunners, completionists. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess I'll move on to my tricky trophy then. This is from one of my favorite games from last gen. It's not exactly a widely regarded game for being good, or a lot of people don't like it, but it's the Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. I really liked it. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and it being like a hack and slash style game really appealed to me. I didn't buy it at launch. I bought it actually a few years later, pre-owned, really cheap, and it was like the what was it called? The sort of Ultimate Sith Edition or something. The one that came with like all the DLC and add-on packs and all that stuff, all the costumes. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Anyway, this trophy for me is Sith Master. Complete the game on Sith Master difficulty, which is the highest difficulty in the game. This isn't actually a trophy regarding actual difficulty because I got around it. The game itself on the hardest mode is ridiculously hard, but I used a bit of a cheat, if you will, to get around it. You see, in the game, when you search through the game, you find these collectibles which you use to upgrade your like your stats. Like, not skill tree would be the wrong word to describe it, but you can basically upgrade your character, like life. I can't remember because it's literally been like so many years, but basically like life, stamina, force, sort of the three kind of like bars that you have. And when you pick up a collectible, you can assign it to whichever one of the three you want. When you play the game on hard mode, this game really does kick your ass. It's really tough, especially some of the boss battles in the game, and especially towards the late game. Definitely at the end as well. Like, the boss battle was crazy. Yeah, but I found a little kind of trick to help me through the hardest mode and get the platinum. When you, at any time you like, you can actually reassign your upgrades. You go into the pause menu and you go into your skills and you press a button and it clears all your skill upgrades and returns the skill points to how they were. And then you can reassign the skills to how you want. But what that does is when you reassign the skills and then unpause the game, it completely fills your life and force bars, all your free bars up full again. So when I was playing hard mode on the bosses and getting my ass kicked, I'd almost be dead, pause the game, undo all my skills, restore all my skills, unpause, and I'd be back to full health again.
Wow.
And
I mean, if it works.
Yeah, and the reason I choose this as a tricky trophy is because not because it was hard, but it was just annoying having to do it. Like, some of the bosses, I'd be doing this like 10, 15, 20 times during a boss fight because it's really hard on that mode. It's like really unforgiving. So it's actually, I don't know if you call this a frustration trophy, because I guess I was kind of cheating a little bit, I suppose, but I wouldn't class it as cheating, so to speak, because it's within the confines of the game's mechanics. I didn't like find a bug or anything. They set it this way. The game was designed that you could reset your skills at any time and restore them back to how you wanted. So I just use that to my advantage. That's my way of justifying it to myself anyway.
Yeah, I never really I think I attempted to go for the platinum in Force Unleashed because I thought the game was amazing.
Yeah.
I really like the aspect of playing as someone that's not from, Star Wars canon, but
yeah, it is a really good game.
I made a solid attempt at getting the platinum, but I don't think I ever played on, what was it, Ultimate Sith or whatever? Sith difficulty?
Sith Master.
Sith Master difficulty. I only
Yeah.
played the game on normal at best.
It's just the game was really fun, like picking up stormtroopers with the Force and chucking them around like rag dolls and just manipulating. And later on in the game, when you bring down a Star Destroyer with a Force, it's like incredible. Like it's not aged well, but back in the day, it was awesome. I really, really like that game. Shame Force Unleashed 2 was crap though. It was
Yeah.
really, it
It
really was
was
awful.
It was super short. The story didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But the gameplay was fun.
The what? Sorry.
The gameplay, Force Unleashed,
Oh, Force Unleashed just 1 or 2 or just in general?
2. I found the gameplay in 2 being much more interesting and dynamic more than 1 because it was faster.
I guess.
I did like the fact that you got to wield 2 lightsabers. I know
Yeah.
that was in the first one as well, but
Yeah. Well, in the first one, I think you only wield one. It's just, yeah. In the second game, they added 2 lightsabers. I didn't like the story in the second game, and to be honest, I felt the second game was ripping on God of War a little bit, especially with like your Force Rage meter. It was like ripped straight from God of War, and it just didn't feel as great. And yeah, it was really short. The story was just terrible, and yeah, it just felt like a real quick cash in on that kind of franchise. So I played through Force Unleashed 2, and I didn't even, just on the regular mode, have no interest in ever platinum in that game or anything because the challenge modes were just too much. And the final boss goes on for about like an hour. Like most of that game is the final boss. You're fighting Vader on Camino, and it just takes forever. It just takes it honestly. It's like 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how good you are. And it felt kind of cheap filling out the last part of the game with just like a boss. But okay, well, yeah, that's me. That's pretty much like rounding up towards the end of our
That's
podcast
correct.
episode. Before we sort of do our regular sign off and all of that, does anyone want to add anything? Vec, have you got anything to talk about in regards to a Discord server or anything like that?
Oh yeah. Just to mention this because we got like the actual message. We would like to say the best of recovery to SSG Punish, who's currently at the hospital.
Yes.
And yeah, recovering from a car accident. And
yeah, unfortunately, yeah, he got into a car accident, and he's on a long road to recovery. But you know, he's alive. He's still with us in spirit. And the quicker he recovers, the quicker he can get back on the podcast.
now, yep.
All the best to him, you know.
Yeah, which might explain why we're not doing like a seasonal, like weekly, like the chillcast sort of thing that we were trying to pull in. And also the reason he's not in the podcast today, though we have been confirmed that he is going to be recovering for the next few weeks, and we hope him for the best.
Yes.
Punish, if you're
Get
listening,
well, Punish.
get well.
I send
Don't
him my
worry about us.
regards as well.
Now, if anyone doesn't know about Punish, he works the community trophy leaderboards and updates that frequently. So, in the meantime, we're hoping about getting that updated. So, best of regards. Yeah, I think besides that, I think that's enough. Barry Soulsmith, everyone. I think that's the last thing.
Okay, fair enough then. Yeah, let's begin our roundup then. First of all, thanks to B Tips and Pizilla. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you've enjoyed your first foray into podcasting on the Trophy Trust. Let's see. Where can we find you guys? B Tips, are you anywhere else? Are you on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter at GamerBTips, all one word.
Okie dokie. Pizilla, are you anywhere else other than Discord?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Pizilla Gaming.
Excellent. Vec, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at TheVectronic. And where can people find you, Daz?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. But you can find me on Twitter at the Dazil. Thanks for listening. As always, you can find our episodes on our YouTube channel, The Trophy Trust. Please support us there by subscribing to our future episodes. You can also find updates on our Twitter at The Trophy Trust. If you enjoy our show, why don't you consider supporting us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month? We're strictly non-profit podcast. However, server hosting costs need to be paid to keep us on the air. This has been The Trophy Trust. Keep on trophy hunting, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.